When I think about the 80s, I remember big hair, neon, leg warmers, expensive toys, crazy fashion, and outrageously colored designs. Most of the biggest trends of the 80s came from Southern California, more specifically, Hollywood and Beverly Hills. Most cartoons of the 80s were nothing more than a vehicle for marketing. Cartoons that looked like toys, advertisements for toys that looked like their cartoons, and explosion after explosion could be found on all the major networks and their local syndicated affiliates. That's why it was refreshing when a cartoon would change up this paradigm by showing personality conflict and resolution, something that shows relationships can be broken, but also mended within the same episode, all while being a time capsule of fashion, language, and culture of a whole generation. Only one cartoon truly embraced the 1980s Southern California culture of extravagance and combined it with real relationship-focused storytelling. So grab your Cartier watch, Louis Vuitton shoes, and hop into the stretch limo so that we can head on down to the club with our friends, the Beverly Hills Teens. As a child of the 80s, I remember waking up early every Saturday to watch 6 hours of cartoons while recording 6 other hours onto VHS tape to watch throughout the remainder of the day. Over 30 years later, I now have kids of my own, and there's a whole generation out there that have no idea about Centurions, Wheeled Warriors, and Silverhawks. So, what if I shared with you all the details I can remember about these iconic animated adventures? What if I told you secrets about production and the talent that created them? Together, we can learn just how relevant these shows could be if they were still on today. It's time for us to reanimate our youth. The basic premise of Beverly Hills Teens is that these students are learning how to deal with school, friends, and adolescence, all while surrounded by unfathomable wealth. However, the point of the show is to illustrate that despite their bank accounts, these kids are merely navigating their way through life, love, and friendships, just like any other teenager. This show revolved around relationships, and we, the audience, were meant to identify with the people we liked and recognize the ones that we don't. In reflection, I almost find it fascinating that we can watch a show like Beverly Hills Teens and immediately recognize people we want to hang around and people we should avoid. Yet this was so difficult to do in our own lives growing up. Sure, we could easily notice people that were bad influences on our friends, but how many times did your best friend hang around someone that was bad for them, and insist you were wrong when you tried to point it out? And how many times in hindsight did you realize that the person you were attracted to was not treating you the way you deserve to be treated? Welcome to adolescence, in any generation.
Doing this still makes me feel funny. It's kind of like cheating.
Now, Chester, remember those countless girls I'm going to introduce you to?
You can't have interpersonal conflict without people. With at least 15 key players at the Beverly Hills Teen Club, the creators decided to make all of them easily identifiable tropes, like the Southern Belle or the Rocker. We have a lot of ground to cover, so let's get started. Troy Jeffries, the jock. Certainly the most popular boy at school, Troy is athletic, charismatic, and smart. He was voiced by Jonathan Potts, who also played Link in the Legend of Zelda cartoon. And don't worry, we'll get to that show soon enough. Jonathan has had a diversified and storied acting career, including multiple live-action movies and TV shows, voice acting credits, and over 1,000 television and radio advertisements.
You really are something special.
No, I'm not. I'm just your average shark-fighting cover girl.
Troy can mostly be seen with Lark Tanner, the model. Lark's altruistic moral compass makes her friendly to everyone. Even in her teens, she's already an international fashion sensation in both commercial and print, and she drives a hot pink Ferrari. Lark was voiced by Mary Long, another career performer. Mary has countless credits to her name, including voices in the English dubs of Sailor Moon, although nowadays she seems to focus on made-for-TV Christmas movies.
Hi, Troy. I hope you're ready for the big race.
I've been thinking, Lark. Why don't I just tell you where I'll be and you can come and catch me?
No way. I'll capture you fair and square or not at all.
Funny enough, Mary also voiced Empress, the pet dog of Lark's rival, Bianca. Speaking of Bianca, meet Bianca Dupree, the bad girl. There are 2 rules in Bianca's world. Number 1 is Bianca first. Number 2 is see Rule 1. Bianca is a scheming, arrogant diva who expects to be waited on hand and foot. She serves as the main foil to the rest of the cast. Personally, I couldn't stand Bianca. TVTropes.org says Bianca was the main reason most fans watched the show, but not me.
I guarantee it.
Bianca was voiced by Tracy Moore in 36 episodes, and Terry Hawks in 28 other episodes. What's even more interesting is that both women were listed in the credits, even though they're not featured together at the same time.
I wanted that part more than anything in the world.
A little French bread?
Nothing seems important now.
Various cheeses from Holland?
I just want to crawl off somewhere and hide.
Adorable little hands were not made for working.
That's right. They were made to hold credit cards. But don't worry, I've just come up with a plan.
Bianca's male synonym is Pierce Thorndike III, the womanizer. Egotistical to a fault, Pierce often played a role in Bianca's plans of nabbing Troy because he hopes to nab Lark for himself once Troy is out of the way. Pierce carries around a personal electronic device called CAD. While the acronym CAD stands for Computer Assistant and Date Maker, the word CAD is an old-fashioned insult directed at men who treat women badly, and served as an indicator to the audience of his true personality. Pierce was voiced by Stephen McMulkin, and he did very little acting before or after. The 2 actresses of Bianca Dupree also voiced Blaze Summers and Gillian Thorndike. Blaze Summers, the cowgirl, is almost a carbon copy of Lark Tanner, and often had me confused when I watched the show as a kid. Their looks and personalities are almost identical, and really the only difference is Blaze rides horses and Lark is a model. Don't forget that these 2 characters are the same actress.
Oh, Bianca.
Yes?
Watch this. Watch what? It worked all right, but on the wrong person.
Gillian Thorndike, the brat, is Pierce's annoying younger sister. She tries to be much more adult than she is at any time she's featured. Gillian eventually falls for Chester McTeck, despite having a crush on Troy like almost every other girl in the show.
Julian, are you all right?
Oh, I've never felt better in my life.
We all had that friend in high school who had their proverbial finger on the pulse, someone that was always in the know. Well, Brenda Switchboard Andes, the journalist, titles herself as the guru of gossip. Always on the outside looking in, Switchboard's pride comes from accurate journalism, relying on facts and her reluctance to report unsubstantiated rumors. Switchboard was voiced by Joanna Schellenberg, an actress with many live theater credits to her name as well as television roles, although she has shown a resurgence into movies within the past 3 or 4 years.
Hi, gang! Today's edition of Teen Club Tattletale comes to you live and direct from the Teen Club skating rink.
Switchboard's cousin is Chester McTeck, the board genius and resident Wesley Crusher. This high school freshman is a 10-year-old tech prodigy who spends most of his time around computers and the various inventions he creates to help his friends overcome their shortfalls. Chester is right at the beginning stages of adolescence, where he really wants a girlfriend and does everything he can in hopes of earning approval, especially from Lark or Bianca. Chester was voiced by Sean Roberge, a young actor with a promising career who sadly passed away in a car accident in 1996.
Did you happen to see a mechanical mouse around here? It's my new invention. I call it a robot rodent.
Jet Lyman, the singer, provides the euphonious vocals of the local band. Likely named after famous 80s musician Joan Jett, the Teen Club's Jet is a blonde female rocker with extremely big hair and an exaggerated Valley Girl accent whenever she talks. Did you know that the Valley Girl accent didn't reach the public mainstream until legendary rocker Frank Zappa had his 14-year-old daughter Moon use the accent in his 1982 track Valley Girl?
Like, oh my god! Like, totally.
This dialect became almost synonymous with the language of the 80s. Jet speaks in this accent, but only when she talks and not when she sings. She also appears to be the singer of the cartoon theme song, probably because of this part in the show's opening. Jet was voiced by Karen Bernstein, the longtime voice of Sailor Mercury in the North American releases of Sailor Moon throughout the 1990s. Also voiced by Karen Bernstein was Tara Bell, the Southern Belle of the group. Tara uses a distinct Deep South accent and even references her extended family with the phrase, "folks back home on the bayou." I have to believe that she completed finishing school before moving to Beverly Hills because of her extreme politeness. Don't forget that these two characters are also the same actress.
I'll help you with this babysitting gig, Tara. Why, thank you, Jet. Hey, no biggie. Like, I really groove with kids. I dig where they're coming from.
Thomas Josephson, the Aussie rocker, is the bread to Jet's butter. Don't recognize the name Thomas? That's because in the show, everyone called him Gig. Seemingly modeled after Michael Hutchence of Australian 80s band In Excess, Gig enjoys impressing the ladies, but secretly pines for Jet. Gig even said he can't date Jet because it could lead to breaking up the band if things turn sour. Gig's guitar is sentient and spends most of its time insulting or making fun of Gig's failures, including his relationship with Jet, which seems like it could lead to some serious mental health concerns in Gig's future.
Somebody else? How's that possible?
Not too dance, are you, Gig?
What does she have to do, Wah Wah? Drop a rock on your head?
Climb up, mate, or I'll use you for a tennis racket.
I mean, would you want something mocking you every time you screwed up? It's nice to know that Jet and Gig eventually earned themselves a recording contract from Vic Vinyl of Starstruck Music.
Vic Vinyl wants to sign you guys up.
Get out of here!
Would I kid the Teen Club's own future superstars?
Gig was voiced by Mark Saunders, and now it's time to go off on a tangent. Mark Saunders has multiple credits to his name on IMDb. However, in my research, I have found Mark Saunders to be two different people. This guy, or this guy. The first Mark Saunders is an Australian, with credits in Crocodile Dundee 2 as Diamond and Boat People as Warrior Bob. This Mark Saunders eventually changed his professional name to Alfred Coolwell. Despite the Australian accent, I don't think this Mark Saunders and Gig sound alike. The other Mark Saunders is a Canadian, like most of the other cast. He has credits in B-tier horror movies like Gate 2, and bit parts in series shows like The Commish and The X-Files. My vote goes to this Mark Saunders as being the voice of Gig. It's gotta be him. I mean, just... Throughout our lives, we had a cast of friends that may not have been in every one of our stories, but were always there in the background. That's the same for these few others that were also in the show. They had their opportunities to shine in certain episodes, even if they were not directly featured in every one. Wilshire Brentwood is Bianca Dupree's chauffeur and doormat. Wilshire is head over heels for Bianca and will always do anything for her, almost to literal definitions. Sure, Wilshire is in every episode that Bianca is in, but he gets 2 or 3 episodes that really show who he is as a person. Despite Bianca's conniving, she does show genuine affection for Wilshire after he gets into danger and almost dies. Wilshire Brentwood is named after 2 of the most famous landmarks in Los Angeles. Wilshire Boulevard is considered the 16-mile spine of Los Angeles, and Brentwood is widely considered LA's most glamorous neighborhood and home to many celebrities. Buck Huckster, the Hustler, can be spotted wearing his signature sunglasses, and he always has a get-rich-quick scheme on his mind, despite being a wealthy teenager in Beverly Hills. Both Wilshire and Buck were voiced by Michael Beatty, a prolific Canadian voice actor extraordinaire with many credits to his name, including roles in popular video games like World of Warcraft, Saints Row, and Mass Effect. Radley Coleman, the surfer, is fluent in bro lingo and raises surfing to an artistic 11, and the equipment to match. With a name like Rad, he epitomizes California culture. Radley was voiced by Hadley Kay, a diverse Canadian voice actor with dozens of credits. He started his career as a child actor in small roles, like being saved by Christopher Reeves in Superman 2. Nikki Darling, the actress, finds drama like a magnet finds iron. She despises unfairness, but at the same time, she tries to put herself in the limelight whenever there's a camera around. Nikki was voiced by Corinne Koslow. Nikki was Corinne's first role in an illustrious career. Her most recent roles were in the acclaimed Netflix series Anne with an E, based on the Anne of Green Gables story, and Corner Gas Animated, a Canadian series that ran for 4 seasons. Chanel Spencer, the leader, is probably the one voted most likely to rule the world. Chanel is the teen club class president. She is level-headed and a strong diplomat who sticks to the rules. She acts as the eternal voice of reason for the rest of the club. Chanel was voiced by Michelle St. John, an actress turned producer and director. Michelle has performed in series shows like Northern Exposure and By Way of the Stars, and voiced Pocahontas' friend Nakoma in Disney's 1995 animated feature.
Face it, guys, this is some life.
That's right. Swimming, having fun in the sun, eating fudge sundaes Mondays through Fridays.
And catching Monday Ray.
Listen, guys, wouldn't it be neat if we could somehow share the teen club with the rest of the world?
The school and surrounding grounds are just as important as the characters who inhabit it. This is a diverse setting for the wealthy students that come here every day. The building is a massive palace reminiscent of Hearst Castle in San Simeon, California, barely 4 hours north of Beverly Hills. Inside, the teens sit at Louis XIV-style desks and are waited on hand and foot. Even the showers are automated. Outside, there's a snow-capped mountain with skiing long jump ramp and powder-covered evergreens. It is likely their extreme wealth allows for fresh snow from the Sierra Nevadas to be piled on their slopes every morning for primo skiing conditions throughout the day. And at the bottom of the mountain, the snow stops right on a glorious beach where the sand is as pure as golden dust. Aside from their own ritzy vehicles, the teens also have access to a 10-wheeled stretch limo with pool. I assume this limo belonged to the club and was borrowed as needed, only because various different students are seen driving it, as well as the occasional chauffeur. Check out this shot of the cast from the opening. Even Pierce's little sister is in it. The only 3 people not in this shot are Pierce, Bianca, and Bianca's manservant Wilshire. But then again, why would they be?
Hello? Oh, hi, Daddykins. What? Heavens to Hepzibah! Everything?
Furthermore, each episode teaches a valuable lesson. Even if the characters don't learn that lesson, the audience does. For example, a treatise on humility can be found in episode 7, Down and Out in the Teen Club. Tara learns that her father's company went bankrupt and they are poor. Tara gets a job at the teen club to make money and continue staying at the school. But Bianca, being the B for Bianca that she is, treats Tara like a personal servant. In return, the other teens fool Bianca into thinking that her family went broke too. Bianca also gets a job at the teen club and winds up having Tara as her boss. The show even tackled bigger issues like body image and healthy weight loss in episode 43 called Diet Please. I think this is the only episode with a G.I. Joe-esque PSA at the end of it.
In the program you just saw, Tara tried to lose weight in a very dangerous and unhealthy way, and for a very silly reason. Before you make any decisions about how much you should weigh or how to gain or lose weight, always check with a doctor. Losing weight is not something to be taken lightly.
Created by Eleanor Burrian Moore and Jack Hanrahan, names you will hear again in future videos, the first episode of Beverly Hills Teens was released on September 21st, 1987. The show produced 65 episodes, the exact amount necessary for first-run animated syndication, and boy oh boy did syndication push it hard. While Deke Entertainment created and produced Beverly Hills Teens, Access Syndication was responsible for distributing it to markets that would put it on the air. Here is an advertisement from 1986 listing 3 shows that were available from Access syndication for purchase by local broadcasting markets. In it, Beverly Hills Teens is described as a series centered around the lives, loves, and longings of a group of typical, fun-loving American teenagers who just happen to be fabulously wealthy. The president of Access syndication, Richard Colbert, could also be Colbert, was interviewed by the LA Times in December of 1986, 1 year before Beverly Hills Teens hit the air. He is quoted as saying, "Children's programming these days is dominated by neo-militaristic boy toy animation. Just look at the things that are being offered. Silverhawks, Thundercats, G.I. Joe. The list is endless. Where are the Tom and Jerry's, the Flintstones? Characters for children to develop and identify with." When asked if ultra-rich, money-hungry teenagers could actually be role models, Richard answered, "They may be more wealthy than most, but they have typical teenager problems, and the important thing is they are fully realized personalities."
Great fudge sundaes, huh? I'd better consume a few more of these nutritious Garfables, since I plan to do some serious surfing.
How about you, Pierce? Care for another one? No, thanks. I have to watch my figure. I'm dating this gorgeous creature who's totally opposed to consuming sweets.
A lot of retro review websites online describe fans of Beverly Hills Teens as ride or die. They warn people that if they haven't seen it, they should probably avoid it, because the characters are very one-note and the situations are unreasonable. As a ride or die myself, I obviously disagree. Look, I love this show. The 80s was a decade of coming-of-age movies and TV shows, and everything I learned about high school, I learned from my older sister and TV. From my perspective, movies like The Breakfast Club, License to Drive, and Weird Science were portals into the life of an American teenager. They were not satire to me, they were blueprints. I never considered Beverly Hills Teens a group of teenage stereotypes. They were a slice from the cake of real life, which I learned tactics to help me survive my own time in high school. Did it work? Maybe. I mean, I am who I am because of the lessons I learned from my family, peers, and relatable characters on TV. I think if people watched Beverly Hills Teens with an open mind, they would find it exactly what Richard Colbert said it is, a lighthearted look into the mind of an average teenager who just happens to be fabulously wealthy. And let's not forget that theme song. Not much to say here other than I listen to the whole thing every time I watch an episode. The final episode released was a 2-parter called Miracle at the Teen Club. During the holidays, the cast is snowed in while holding a charity event collecting toys for needy children. While stuck at the teen club, the characters decide to tell their version of Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol. As the series' swan song, this 2-parter is the only episode to show every Beverly Hills Teen character, even if a few do not speak. One thing I noticed throughout all of my research is that there's not an abundance of toys marketed in the Beverly Hills Teens brand, and I'd like to think that that wasn't the point of the show. The creators wanted to create relatable characters, and their monetary goal was to make more episodes. They pushed hard, using plenty of VHS tapes with 1 or 2 episodes to try to get the show out to a wider audience. However, there aren't very many dolls, accessories, or vehicles. I think they exist because I read somewhere that the VHS tapes were packaged with the toys, but I have not found enough information about them to share with you. If you happen to have any of these very rare Beverly Hills Teens toys, leave a comment below or send me some pictures. I'd love to see them. There were even plans for a video game. The game appears to be marketed towards the French-speaking markets, as you can see from the logo in the upper left corner. In French, the acronym BCBG became its own phrase. BCBG stands for Bon Chic, Bon Genre, meaning stylish, posh, or sometimes preppy, and was used as the name for the show in France and French Republic markets.
Hello,
Hello, Troy. How would you like to be my partner in the double surfing contest this afternoon?
Gee, I'm sorry, Bianca, but I've already made plans to team up with Lark.
Troy, maybe you ought to take Bianca. She's a much better surfer than I am.
No way, Lark. A promise is a promise. Sorry, Bianca. Maybe next time.
I read a news article recently that said that common courtesy in the digital era is dead, replaced by a generation of people that are trying to one-up each other using social media. Everyone online is looking for that one viral moment that will put themselves ahead of everyone else, even if it's only for 15 seconds of fame. Politeness, decency, and manners are a thing of the past, and unfortunately, the current trend of modernized reboots of classic television reflects that trend, where creators are trying to make their show more outrageous than the predecessor on which their intellectual property is based, with most just ending up falling flat on their faces in ratings. Let's be real. If Beverly Hills Teens was made today, it would probably be live action and all angsty and dramatized like Riverdale or Bel Air, and I would absolutely hate it. If I were making it, I wouldn't change a thing. I would want it to be exactly what it is, a youthful representation of modern interpersonal conflict aimed towards early teens. Modern teens need to learn conflict resolution methods, out-of-the-box problem-solving, and relationship navigation to prepare them for how to interact with their peers when they enter high school. Oh, and I would certainly want it to be a time capsule-esque reproduction of the trends of the era. I would want people watching it 30 years from now to reflect on what life was like 30 years earlier. That is the heart and soul of Beverly Hills Teens. 1980s decadence with relatable coming-of-age stories thrown in.
What a perfect day for surfing. Just look at those waves. There's something missing from this picture.
What's that?
Bradley.
Did somebody mention my name? Hey, dudes.
Hi, Bradley. I was afraid you wouldn't show up for the surfing competition.
And I was afraid you would.
Yeah, nobody stands a chance against a primo hot dogger like you.
Hey, come on, you guys. Anybody can win this contest. It's like up for grabs, you know?
So, dudes and dudettes, if you're frothing to sample from the buffet, I recommend you barrel episode 38, the commercial. Watch Bianca get exactly what she wanted while she literally drops in on Lark's commercial shoot. Bruh, you stoked for more? Put yourself in the pocket of episode 8, Chase of a Lifetime, and get yourself slotted for the Teen Club Sadie Hawkins dance. Chia. If you're new to the channel, I'm doing deep dives into the cartoons of my childhood, remembering every facet of the stories that defined my youth. I hope you enjoyed this video enough to hit subscribe and share it with other people. Leave a comment below so we can share our memories together and even make new ones. And you can leave me ideas for future videos. Maybe you could hit that notification bell so you know when the next episode is available, too. Here's a hint about my next episode. See you soon.